What conspiracy theory do you fully believe is true? Netflix marketing team releases memes about shows to give off the appearance that everyone is watching said show. Since people have FOMO, they watch the shows to understand the memes until everyone eventually does watch it. I swear Disney does this as well. There is always some meme campaign happening before a major Marvel drop. For many years people were considered crazy for saying the government is spying on everything you do online. Then the leaks started. As well as stating I think my phone is tracking me. Now it's just supposed to be an accepted normal behavior. To be tracked and spied on. You sympathetic villain commented on a similar post years ago and I saved his comment because I thought it made a lot of sense. See below for the comment. American public education is purposely declining to promote consumerism and make a more subservient population. For example, public schools used to teach home economics, woodshop or auto shop. By cutting the budget for these programs, you're going to end up with adults who don't know how to cook, so they spend all their money at restaurants. So they spend all their money on clothes. Have an understanding of how tools work and make small repairs, so they spend all their money on handymen or repairmen, or take care of their cars, so they spend all their money at car dealerships or auto shops. Also getting ripped off because they are then you get to homework. We are teaching children and young adults it's okay to work all day at school, then do additional work at home. With so many companies changing to a salaried position, it's perpetuating that it's expected to do some work at home and to not get paid for it. After all, you did it your whole life with homework, so why should the workforce be any different? Jill Dando was taken out by a hitman as she was about to blow the Savile case wide open. Lots of people in high positions didn't want Savile pointing fingers while he was still alive. That all of those souvenir shops on prominent shopping streets in London, England are money laundering fronts. You know, the ones with a massive floor space selling keyrings and knockoff hoodies that say TikTok or something yet have no customers except young male staff sat about on their phones? How on earth would a not very busy shop survive in Europe's most expensive retail space other than that? Also factoring in a global pandemic and a massive reduction in international tourists, who they are presumably aimed at, yet they show no signs of shutting down. They also all appear to be owned by the same person and stock the same merchandise. TLDR, Oxford Street souvenir shops are all money laundering premises. A few years ago a huge amount of soap shops started appearing in my city. Fancy boutiques which sold luxury bars of soap. The staff were mainly people who didn't speak the language, and they hardly sold any products. A few months later some crime syndicate got busted and poof, all soap shops were gone. Huge investment banks and hedge funds effectively close out the retail investor from taking advantage of stock movements. Never mind, that has recently been proved to be true. Someone paid off someone so there are no paprika flavor potato chips in Lithuania in all major supermarkets but one. 3 months ago you could find it anywhere and it was like the 3rd or 4th most popular, I think. Is Lithuania worth visiting? I think the trend where you show a picture of yourself now versus 10 years ago was promoted if not invented by Facebook-owned social media companies in order to train artificial intelligence to be able to recognize and analyze how faces age. Just like solving captchas about crosswalks is helping train self-driving AI. That the art market is actually a huge money laundering scheme. I don't remember where I read this, but it said that kingpins and criminals will often buy paintings and sculptures for millions of dollars in order to make dirty money transactions legal. They have paintings made for cheap, have them appraised for lots of money and tada. When I was in high school my friends and I came up with this conspiracy theory between us, that the theater kids are covering up for something because they act like a cult and talk about the theater teacher like he's their personal Jim Jones. 2 years after graduating I find out he's been arrested for sexually molesting his female students, and it was only found out because he thought he could trust this freshman new theater kid, and started showing him all the naked pics he's taken with those girls. Kid turned around and reported him the next day. The other theater kids went on social media to defend their god anyway. Former theater kid here. It sometimes kind of is a cult. CSI television shows purposely overplay the forensic capabilities of various law enforcement departments to help project an image of total competence. I actually had a class at uni where we just watched CSI and our lecturer would pause it every few minutes and ask us to find everything wrong in that scene. For example, packing radioactive materials in plastic bags while wearing a hazmat suit, etc. Getting data from equipment that doesn't even do what they say it does, etc. The TrueCrypt organization was bought off into suddenly ceasing operations to encourage other closed source encryption alternatives with backdoors. If you follow InfoSec much, and know the type of people the TrueCrypt devs were, the statements they released were very obviously meant as red flags to alert security experts that the TrueCrypt project had been compromised and no information from the project should be trusted anymore. It also happened in the midst of other groups being forced to add backdoors to their security products. I'm torn between the government being completely aware of extraterrestrial contact and that the government is purposely leading people to believe that there's an extraterrestrial cover-up in order to cover up advanced technology testing. There is a local pharmacy in my town and I have not seen anyone in it my whole life. I've lived here since I was 6 and I'm 22 now. I think money laundering, but not sure. My own local conspiracy theory. Just going to mention one I read the last time this was asked. The US military influenced the popularity of high school football to make sure HS graduates were in great shape when they signed up for service. Area 51 was a conspiracy theory started by the US government to lead the Soviet Union into falsely believing that the US had alien technology during the Cold War. I like to think it's a stealth plane testing range and that they use the UFO seeker to see if it's stealthy enough. That the Killer Clowns of 2016 was originally a promotion for it, but it got out of hand. My mom has a theory that whenever a contestant on Wheel of Fortune gets greedy and spins, when the puzzle is clearly easily solvable, they manipulate the wheel to land on bankrupt. Also, whenever there is a good-looking girl on, she believes they manipulate the game so that girl wins. My mom was on WoW in the 70s. She got greedy and spun and went bankrupt. I bet she buys into this conspiracy. I was going to a mega church that kept expanding in a poor part of town, buying up all the property around it. There was a laundromat that was a holdout, wouldn't sell for anything. One night, that laundromat burned down. The church graciously helped them clean up the site. Then they finally sold. It's not a stretch at all to see what really happened. The measuring lines on your detergent container are way more than you actually need, so you use it faster and buy more detergent. If your towels smell musty after you wash and dry them, it is because of all the excess soap that didn't rinse out. Human cloning has already been done or attempted. We cloned a sheep named Dolly in 1996. And humans aren't that much different to sheep in their early blastocyst or embryonic development. Some government agency has probably cloned a human and are watching over that person right now. They publicly talked about cloning monkeys not too long ago and even about making a genetic chimera with human DNA, which they killed early in development. So yeah, for sure. There is no way the 50/50 lifeline on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is completely random. It always leaves the two choices the contestant was talking about. I once saw in one of those YouTube compilation videos one of these posts where a comment said that they were convinced these posts come up every now and then for Big Brother to check on the popularity of conspiracy theories, and now, seeing this here, I kinda have to agree. The government had a hand in creating and or popularizing some of the more outlandish conspiracy theories in order to make questioning the official story seem inherently crazy by association. My favorite is more of a conspiracy debunk. The moon landing was real because if it was faked, Russia would have called the US out on their bulls immediately. On the additional side, people worldwide tuned in live to the astronauts on their own gear. What someone would need to do to fake a signal origination point on the moon is beyond just landing on it. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the dictator of Turkey, is behind the 2016 coup attempt. He did it to make himself seem like a hero so he could gain more support. I'm not sure if this is really a conspiracy theory. It seems to be the consensus that he was either behind it or found out about it early but didn't stop it for political gain. The US government funded the expansion of the NFL to get football more popular and get high school aged men conditioned for the military. Forgot to add, the pro football saw its biggest expansion in the early 60s with the creation of the AFL, which was in perfect time for kids growing up with football to join the military during Vietnam. Big companies use Reddit and other social media to normalize shady behavior. It seems every time news breaks about a company doing something shady, the top comments on Reddit are always along the lines of, "Well done, we've known this for years," so instead of outrage, the news are met with apathy, and there's a feeling that you can't change the system anyway. Well done, not exactly news, they've been doing this for years. Buildings are deliberately created to be ugly so that they don't get heritage status and the owners can knock it down later. Single-use architecture. Toothpaste companies show more toothpaste than necessary on toothbrushes on TV commercials to make you think you need more of it in each brush, thus taking away your money faster. Lather, rinse, repeat. The one about mattress stores being money laundering fronts, even though they are not really cash businesses. It is strange that you'll see 2 or 3 giant mattress stores all near each other, yet how often does the average person buy a mattress? Once a decade? I guess the more conventional explanation is that the markup on mattresses is so insanely high that you only need to sell a few per week to make money. I still think there's something fishy going on in those stores though. I used to think that way, too. You'd be surprised. My husband works for a mattress company and routinely sells 3 to 4 mattresses per day, just as a chat agent. Like, people buy beds they've never even tried. I can imagine stores sell lots more. I don't believe that Walt Disney's body or brain is cryogenically frozen. I do believe the Disney company intentionally named the Anna and Elsa movie as Frozen so that when you search Disney Frozen, you don't find conspiracy theories on the front page. Just gotta search Walt Disney Frozen and it works. Netflix paid marketers to make memes about the movie Bird Box back in 2018. That movie was way too freaking average for people to talk about it as much as they supposedly did. You're talking to bots way more often than you think. This is a super niche one, but I believe Jeanne Calment was a fraud. She did not live to 122. Jeanne Calment had a daughter, Yvonne, who apparently died at age 36. She later moved in with the daughter's husband and helped raise her grandchild. Or did she? Maybe the mother is the one who died, and the daughter took up her name. When she became more well known in her later years, most people who saw her claimed she looked decades younger than her age. There are 10 people who have lived more than 117 years, and 9 of them never made it to 120. Yet here is this one crazy outlier that outlived all the rest by 2 years. I literally don't believe it. When these theories have been raised, a simple way to prove them wrong has been suggested: a quick dig, a small DNA sample, and compare the DNA against the known relatives from Yvonne's father's side of the family. If it's Jeanne, then there will be far less of a match. They were distant cousins. If it's Yvonne, there will be a strong match. The family refused to check. I'm not even sure this is conspiracy. When we started to track births more systematically, suddenly the number of 100+ years old people started to drop. Seems some folks tended to lie as they got on in years, in the years prior to everyone having a birth certificate. Health insurance companies make mistakes on purpose to avoid paying claims. This is honestly one I made up myself, but I swear this is the truth. I've had bizarre glitches keep huge medical bills from being paid. I also think the rules are impossible to understand on purpose so that it is harder to get them to pay. That many restaurants are in fact fronts for some hidden shady business. There is a restaurant close to where I live and I often see various staff going outside, sitting outside taking a break or smoking. But I have never, as in never, in 8+ years seen a single customer walking in the restaurant or sitting inside. Boggles the mind really. Pizza shop right next to my high school was shut down for selling M. Hilarious and absurd. If you wanna know which ones have some shady connections, just see which ones only let you pay in cash. Also the random Chinese restaurants with 0 customers that never go out of business have to make you wonder as well. I'm so ready for this. I worked with an extreme conspiracy nut. Me and my crew leader at the time were joking about how crazy our co-worker was. I then asked him, hey man, are there any conspiracy theories you believe? He said, I have one I came up with. Basically the town he lived in is right next to mine. The town he lived in also was always having roads blocked off for construction. Like every day there is a road blocked off somewhere, and it's a pretty small town to be doing all that work all the time. Also the roads over there are downright terrible. Looks like Lightning McQueen paved their roads. So he believes that what is actually happening is the city bought a bunch of those big traffic cones in bulk. He also believes they don't have anywhere to store all the traffic cones. So to deal with the situation they would block off roads and pretend to fix them so they don't have to worry about it. It probably my favorite one. That one and the art industry is just a sham tied to tax breaks theories are definitely the best to me. Or maybe they pretend to be investing the money in fixing those roads with a paper trail, and if anyone ever decides to inspect it they have the roadblocks and can just say the project has not yet started, and if anyone asks around, oh yes, I've seen them fix roads because they see the blocks but they can't see past that due to people having lives, but instead they pocket all the money. PETA acts so insane and petty at times that I believe it is run by meat industries to make animal rights activists look bad. This was basically what they were investigating in Seaspiracy. Many of the charities that regulate and accredit fisheries, like the Marine Stewardship Council and Earth Island Institute, are ultimately owned by and operated for the benefit of the fisheries themselves. EA have dumped down their sports games to get people so frustrated with gameplay they don't play games. They only stay in the menus where you can buy points to open packs and feed on humans' innate gambling addiction. Wheel of Fortune gets contestants just as smart as Jeopardy but weed out the smart ones and choose folks with average IQ. A few smart ones break through here and there but 90% are somewhat dense. I am 1,000,000,000% sure that they screen for stupid people on Family Feud. I would bet my life on it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.